So I'm Aaron Levo. I'm the Vice President of Communications and Public Affairs and the Interim VP for Human Resources, and happy to be here today, as always, moderating our HHS Town Hall for Thursday, December the 1st. We've got lots on the agenda today. Just a little housekeeping before we start to let everyone know that you can ask questions of the presenters or on any topic throughout the course of today's town hall by using the Q&A function. So just ask your question by writing it into the Q&A function, and the answers will stack up in the answered tab. So you can see the answers to all the questions asked as they are answered in there. Of course, if a question comes to mind after the fact, you can always email that to the HHS News inbox, and we'll have that up later for everybody. So if you've got a question after the fact, you can ask it there too. And please, throughout the course of today's town hall, think about celebrations you might wish to give for people, for teams, for accomplishments, and we'll pause at the end of our formal agenda to have a moment for celebrations. You can type those or you can give them live. Okay, so that's enough from me. I'll hand it over to our President and CEO, Rob McIsaac. Rob, over to you.
Thank you very much, Aaron, and good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining. As always, I want to begin by acknowledging that we are privileged to provide care on lands that Indigenous peoples have called home for thousands of years. We recognize and respect the presence and stewardship of all Indigenous peoples as keepers of this land. So let me begin. I want to raise some awareness about two upcoming EDI observances. December 3rd is the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. This was first observed by the United Nations in 1992. It promotes the rights and well-being of persons with disabilities. It also helps increase awareness of persons with disabilities in every aspect of political, social, economic, and cultural life. So that's coming up. Human Rights Day is observed every year on December 10th. And it celebrates the adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights by the United Nations in 1948. Interesting, the declaration was drafted by Canadian John Humphrey and is broadly recognized as a milestone in world history from a human rights perspective that proclaims the inalienable rights that everyone is entitled to, regardless of race, color, religion, gender, language, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or other status. Unfortunately, as we look around the world, we know that many of those rights remain under attack today still. We have virtual backgrounds available in Zoom for both International Day for Persons with Disabilities and for Human Rights Day, if you can take advantage of those. Once again, I want to thank staff and physicians who continue to deal with constant volume pressures and increasing acuity. This is particularly being felt by those who work at McMaster Children's Hospital. Our pediatric programs have seen unprecedented demand, partly due to the infectious diseases season that we are in, and three viruses in particular that are impacting young people. Numbers are slightly trending downward, but the acuity of cases at McMaster Children's remains very high. And we have very heavy workloads for our teams to meet the care needs of these patients. I realize this has been a really long journey, and it must feel at times like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. I want you to know starting today, but at the next town hall as well, we'll be talking about the things that we are doing as a hospital to try to ease those pressures and overcome health human resource challenges. So look, beyond just acknowledging and recognizing the hard work and the strain that everybody's under, I think it's important for you to know we are doing all that we can to try to address some of these things and to remedy some of these things. So over the next while, we'll try to draw a straight line in how efforts emanating from our strategic plan are really aimed at trying to benefit frontline workers. So we'll start today, but also tune in again on December 15th for more information. Finally, in the introduction today, I wanted to make mention that the Ontario Superior Court of Justice released a decision this week finding that the Ontario government's Bill 124 violates the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So that's a very significant decision. The Ontario Hospital Association is reviewing the decision and what it means for hospitals. Of course, we'll also be looking to see the province's response to the release of this decision. So following both of those matters very closely, and we'll share with you updates and information as it becomes available. So I am going to be back to talk a little bit about our strategic plan, but between now and then, I'm going to turn it over to Sharon Pearson, who is going to give us an update on operations. So Sharon, over to you.
Great, thank you, Rob, and good morning, everyone. I'll just update first on our COVID numbers, which Rob indicated are trending down slightly. So as of today, we have 83 patients across our sites, should be less than 5 in our ICUs, and 2 current outbreaks. And we still have 93 staff in self-isolation. If we go to the next slide, in terms of our operating pressures, again, these numbers, we have not seen them subside. We're still sustaining very high occupancy, as you can see across all of our acute sites with that spectrum of really 100% to 112%. Again, each of the acute sites feeling that inordinate pressure. We have seen that amplified a fair bit at McMaster over the course of the last few weeks. One of the significant contributors to that is this increase we're seeing in our ALC. So you can see we are now at 255 ALC patients, remembering 120 of those or close to that will be in our satellite health facility. If we go to the next slide, in terms of a few other metrics that we should note, I often update on where are we at with our surgical recovery. So generally right now we're anywhere between 85 to 88%. So certainly we haven't gone back to our pre-COVID surgical activity. We are seeing a slight incline, more so in our ED volumes now, but also, as I've noted before, in acuity that's contributing to length of stay across the organization. In terms of managing that capacity, we're sustaining typically 60, if not sometimes more than unfunded beds across our sites in order to absorb that capacity that we're feeling. Certainly not alone. We're seeing our partners across the region and across the province feeling the pressures within the emergency department, certainly pediatrics and across critical care as well. If we go to the next slide, just a bit more detail, Rob certainly highlighted, and there's been a number of communications out regarding pediatrics, but we've seen occupancy sustained upwards of 130 to 140%, very high ED volumes, very high admission rates, and consequently very high admit no bed numbers. There's been a number of concurrent strategies in terms of trying to mitigate those pressures. There was provincial direction for provision of care for 14-year-olds and older youth in adult ICU beds across the province. And we certainly have implemented, as of some other hospitals, care of youth 16 years and older in our adult inpatient beds. We have always done that for our trauma and burn patients, but we're extending that to other patient populations as well. We have been reinforcing publicly the opportunity that families have to use the urgent care center if they choose to do so. And we have added another non-urgent transport to the McMaster site as well. Lots of activity looking to expand the physical capacity. There's lots of unconventional space in play at the site to manage the volumes, and certainly looking to support our staff with volunteers. Everyone would have seen our request out to all staff, particularly those that have pediatric past experience in nursing, and also work to augment our physician models as well. There's an immense number of planning tables locally, regionally, and provincially as well, looking to ensure we're doing all that we can to mitigate the pressures on the hospital and manage and respond to the pediatric surge that we're seeing right now. In terms of the rest of the organization, next slide. We do continue with our admit avoid strategies. There's lots of partnerships for early discharge and post-acute strategies, maximizing our post-acute facilities. We have had a group working on enhanced discharge planning. In the second week of November, there was an Ontario West revision to the repatriation policy to assist with more expeditious return of patients to their home communities. We are looking at ways we can maximize physical space across all of our sites right now. And as Rob alluded to, there's an immense amount of work happening with respect to health human resources, looking at the short term and looking at the long-term strategies. We have sustained our callback model to facilitate and support staffing. And just like pediatrics, there's an immense amount of planning occurring across Hamilton, the region, and the province as well. So that's my update. And with that, I will pass it back to Aaron.
All right. Well, thanks very much, Sharon. And Rob, you're back up now to talk about strategic plans. So over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron, again, and thanks, Sharon. So wanted to share with you, I have been sort of doing a roadshow about our updated strategic plan to a number of audiences, and thought that the town hall would be an ideal place to share broadly the updates we've made to our plan. So I think the updated plan reflects our current environment. It will help us move towards a more sustainable, equitable, efficient future. So let's go to the next slide, please. You know, I think it makes sense to revisit our organization's strategy to make sure it brings concrete solutions to issues such as staffing gaps or introducing innovation in how we provide care. Since the last strategy update, there have been a number of things that have happened that have had and continue to have a material impact on hospital operations. So among those, I would list the obvious nearly 3 years of the pandemic. We have a historic and global health human resource shortage. We're seeing rising demand for hospital services and increasing backlog for procedural, surgical care, and diagnostics. And also overlaid on top of all of that, changing expectations from the people we serve on issues such as environmental stewardship and EDI. Some of the initiatives, projects, and in-year objectives within our strategic plan, those that will have the greatest positive impact on the front line and the care we provide, have been maintained or accelerated, and we've added some new initiatives. So you can see in front of you that our strategic plan at a glance, this really acts as our North Star, guiding us towards a common vision. Our strategy is built on 4 pillars: patients, people, sustainability, and research, innovation, and learning. Those are the 4 icons you can see in the center of the circle there. For patients, we want to be a top-ranking hospital for the quality of care and excellence of our patient and family experience. For people, we want to create a safe work environment with highly engaged staff and physicians. Under sustainability, we are trying to be responsible stewards of our resources. And finally, our objective for the research, innovation, and learning pillar is to continue to be one of Canada's top academic health sciences centers. Supporting the pillars of our three strategic directions. The first is operational excellence. It really focuses on our commitment to align our strategy, systems, tools, and culture in pursuit of improved value for our patients and families. Second, we've signaled an openness to forging strategic partnerships to find solutions to the big complex challenges that are very difficult for us to tackle on our own. And finally, population health is about trying to decrease the demand for hospital services by keeping people healthier. Next slide, please. So what's different this year? The fact is some of our previous strategy work has been successful and has now sort of gone on to become part of our daily or routine operations. That includes things like our management equipment services initiative. That's the replacement and maintenance of our diagnostic imaging equipment. Our launch of Epic this June. Looking ahead, we have 4 transformational projects that we are focusing on. They are Our Healthy Future, Workforce Planning, Epic Optimization, and Post-COVID Recovery. So I'll say just a couple of words about each of those. Our Healthy Future is really our infrastructure plan, and this work continues in 2022, 23, and beyond. It now includes advancing the planning and securing of funds for the Juravinski Hospital redevelopment and for the Hamilton General Hospital projects. These projects are in addition to the ongoing rebuild of the West Lincoln Memorial Hospital. So that's infrastructure. Under Epic Optimization, that means moving beyond just stabilizing our use of Epic and getting to the greatest possible return on our investment in this system. Hopefully we're achieving numerous things with this, driving waste out of the system, improving our quality of care, improving our patient experience, improving the quality of work life for people who work at HHS. So Epic Optimization really means a lot for us, and that will be an ongoing effort for years to come. Post-COVID recovery, this work is really looking at solutions to address the surgical and procedural backlog that has accumulated at HHS, including finding ways to improve access and flow for patients through our hospitals. And workforce planning is key in the coming years. So this initiative will feature short, medium, and long-term concrete solutions aimed at providing HHS with a sustainable workforce. So as I indicated a couple of minutes ago, in the next town hall, we'll discuss short-term solutions that we hope are going to bring some relief to the front line from a staffing perspective. The work we do here has to be innovative in order to solve the problems we're seeing in the units. We recognize that staff and physicians are suffering from fatigue, made worse daily by ongoing capacity issues and colleagues who are choosing to leave the organization for one reason or another. Frequently, that is about retirement. So we need to fill these gaps by going beyond standard recruitment and retention strategies. So our Healthy Future, Epic Optimization, Post-COVID Recovery, and Workforce Planning are really important and transformational pieces of work that are set forth in this strategic plan. Under corporate projects, we see some items that have been carried over from our previous plan, EDI, staff wellness, and clinical services review. These all have HHS-wide significance, and because they're in the plan, they are really receiving organizational focus, some resources, and executive oversight. Epic stabilization is sort of the precursor to Epic optimization. So it's really just about getting the biggest kinks out of the Epic implementation. And we're really hoping we can wrap up that work fairly shortly. There are a number of new corporate projects. We're looking at getting ready to replace our scheduling system because it's reaching its end of life. We are going to be developing an environmental management plan, and that's a multi-year effort aimed at reducing our environmental footprint. We are taking a look at our physician feedback process to make sure that it's timely and appropriate. We are starting to work on accreditation. So we know that next fall, we are going to go through the accreditation process again. So we need to get going on that now to be ready for that. We are undertaking a clinical program review of the NICU. So this will leverage the new framework designed in the Clinical Service Review Project. Our objective really is to adopt a standard approach to assessing the health of our clinical programs. And finally, the research strategic plan. This follows the recent addition of Dr. Mark Yeschke, our VP of Research and Medical Director at Burns. It aims to increase HHS's profile and performance as a leading research hospital in Canada and ultimately in the world. Lastly, we have a number of in-year objectives. These were selected based on our performance in comparison to our peers, frequently looking at the data coming out of CIHI. So we have 4 objectives that we're looking to make improvements on in the coming year. Hospital deaths within 30 days following major surgery, lost time injuries, pressure injuries, and sepsis. So to wrap up, the most important changes you'll see with our updated plan are that we are placing a heavy emphasis on creating a stable, sustainable workforce in light of unprecedented health human resource shortages. I think you can advance to the next slide. Starting with the near-term immediate solutions, we're looking for immediate solutions that can bring relief to the teams on wards and units and various other programs. We're also putting a distinct focus on equity, diversity, and inclusion to drive work aimed at eliminating racism and discrimination within HHS, all to create a more inclusive and equitable environment. We're giving significant attention over multiple years towards making EPIC a leading driver of the way that we work at Hamilton Health Sciences. And we're reviewing key clinical services to ensure we're delivering exceptional patient care. We'll be sharing updates over the coming weeks and months that go into more depth about these projects. This is our most important work as a hospital system, and it's essential to our long-term goals. So thank you. I know I went through that relatively quickly, and it's not, reviewing corporate strategy isn't always the most riveting thing, but I do think it's really important for us as a hospital system. And hopefully, as you see that work, you can see some of it as a reflection of what's important to you in your day-to-day roles. So having said all of that, back to you, Aaron.
Thanks very much, Rob. Great update. Next up, we have Susan Cucciarelli, our Director of Health, Safety, and Wellness, to give us a bit of a broad survey update as to what's going on at wellness at HHS. So Susan, over to you.
Thanks, Aaron. Really wanted to focus today on what is available through the wellness programming at HHS. As we've just heard, we know that everybody is under an inordinate amount of pressure and stress. And this time of year, going into the holiday season, can really sort of amplify some of those feelings. So we thought that this would be a good opportunity just to remind people what is already available, and certainly to be looking for your input as we're moving forward in increasing our wellness options. Of course, the well-being of every person working at HHS is important, and it's vital to creating the environment that we're looking for, where people can thrive and be at their best. We are using best practice and evidence-based information to create a psychological health and safety framework, which will support the pandemic recovery that we've been speaking about, and also to create a sustainable culture of wellness and well-being for our staff and physicians and all of our community at HHS. And although we already do have a variety, excuse me, of services that are available, we know that we can do more to increase our wellness options and more to create this environment that we are striving toward of psychological health and safety. So we're exploring these options with the help from our Corporate Wellness Advisory Council, soliciting their input, as well as from the many wellness champions that we have across the organization. And just get to the next slide. So today I'm just going to, again, just give you the highlights of what's available in our Shine Wellness program. Talk a little bit about our Employee Family Assistance Program. Again, just to refresh everybody's memory that that service exists for everybody. And then for those who may not have already heard about this, our Before Operational Stress Program that we have partnered with Wayfound Health that is available to our staff and physicians here at HHS. So next slide. So our Shine Wellness, and if you recall, Shine stands for Supporting Health in Everyone. Just really want to highlight some of the programs and services that are available. You can also find this information on the Hub. And if you haven't already, you can sign up for our Shine newsletter, which is released on a monthly basis, which highlights again the different offerings. So it's our 24/7 connection. So this is accessible to you at all times. Our wellness centers that we have at each of the sites are free. You just need to email Shine Wellness to get access to those Shine Wellness centers. You can, go in there and work out. There are stretching areas. There are free weights that are there as well, and there are massage chairs. So if you just want to have a little bit of time of rest and relaxation, it's a good place to go and hang out maybe on your break or, at another opportunity before or after your shift. We have discounts at local gyms that, again, for staff and family members. That's available through our employee discount and incentive program. And we also have a number of our students through the wellness program that come and do stretch breaks on different units. If you haven't already taken advantage of this and you would like to do so, you can either contact me directly or please contact through our Shine Wellness at hhs.ca, and we can arrange to have somebody come to your unit and do these stretch breaks. They're, again, just a really great opportunity, just in the moment, to a little bit of music, gather people around, do some stretches, and just relieve some of that stress from the day-to-day. Next slide. We also partner with various academic institutions on our massage outreach clinics. So we have the free 15-minute massage treatments that are available. And offsite, you are able to, again, book for a free 1-hour massage through our local colleges that we partner with. And again, that information is available on the Hub. We have lots of different workshops and lunch and learns that we engage in. We've engaged with our dietetic interns and kinesiology students, and we're creating up to 5 to 10 different modules. And these, again, will be both on our dispatch news, on the Hub, and in our Shine newsletter will be advertised so that you can take advantage of those. We've had some other workshops as well. We've done some pottery classes. We've done some crochet classes. They've gone over really, really well. And so, again, your feedback is important for us to continue to bring things to you that you will find beneficial and will contribute to your well-being. We've just revitalized the Wellness Champion program, just recently coming out of the pandemic, because we have seen a turnover. And so that's a really strong and robust program whereby we can utilize those staff that are on the units to promote the different events, to get feedback, to feedback into the wellness program so that we can understand what will make the most difference for you. And then pet therapy, if you haven't seen this yet, we've been partnering with our Volunteer Resources, who is leading this initiative around having some really lovely four-legged friends, or in one case, a three-legged friend, who is here and is available for staff just in a drop-in center. So drop-in, depending on your location, it will be announced a couple of days before the pet therapy dog is there. And you can just come again and spend that, 10 to 15, 20 minutes just having that pet around. And we know through research that makes a big difference to people's state of mind. So when you see that, please do take advantage and go and visit our furry friends. Next slide. So just moving on to EAP, again, just wanted to make sure that everybody is aware that we do have Homewood Health as our provider now. We started with them in March of 2022. Free services to our staff and physicians and family members as well. And just a variety of different services that are listed here for you to take note of. I do want to highlight a couple of the services in particular. Depression care and trauma care is a new feature that we gained by moving to Homewood Health, is our EFAP provider, and they have an excellent program that is available. It is specialized treatment for employees and physicians struggling with PTSD or trauma symptoms. There's also shift worker support, which is very important, of course, in our environment. Lots of different resources that are available on the Homewood Health site. And then, of course, if you want to speak directly to a counselor about perhaps some other strategies. There's the crisis support line that's available 24/7. And if we go to the next slide, I'm just going to talk a little bit more about the online internet-based CBT, so cognitive behavioral therapy, that is available through Homewood Health. And again, this is a new great service that we've been able to bring to you through our Homewood Health EAP connection. So gives you, a little bit of background here, but essentially it is based on establishing treatment goals, and there are lots of different tools and resources that are available. It's accessible through your computer, through your phone, or through your tablet. Again, there's more information about this CBT, which is called Sentio. It's available on the hub, and you can always contact Homewood Health directly to get more information about that. Next slide. This is a program that you may not yet be familiar with. So we recently partnered with Wayfound Health, and Wayfound Health is offering to Hamilton Health Sciences, as part of a time-limited offering, a program called Before Operational Stress. It is completely voluntary. It is strictly confidential. It's available to our staff, physicians, and residents. It's an evidence-informed program that shifts the focus from resiliency to proactive protection in order to reduce mental health injuries. It helps to build skills and knowledge about managing stress, and it's offered in 3 different modalities. On the next slide, there's online, so this is at your own pace. It's an online learning platform over the course of 8 weeks. So you can work through this at your own steam, and there's interactive pieces to that you can take advantage of. The next modality is the Boss Peer, and this is a live facilitated online meeting format, and that is limited. Each cohort would have a maximum of 20 participants. And again, this is something that you can sign up for. So you can either do the online, you can do the peer, and then the last modality is the intensive. So this is a smaller cohort of 8 participants. This would be in person, and it's a clinically led group therapy type of session. So again, this is free of charge, available to all of our staff and physicians, regardless of your role. It's something worth looking into. They are looking at this from a research project standpoint, but understand that you can still attend and participate in the BOSS program. You don't have to participate in the research component. If you choose to, that is available, but it's not a requirement in order to take advantage of the BOSS program. Next slide. So this is just our access information. Again, all of this is available to you on the hub. I encourage you to take a look at those resources and the free tools that are available to you. Lots of different links there to help you and your families. And again, especially as everybody is dealing with all of these pressures that we're going through currently, and the upcoming holiday season, which we know can be even more stressful. And like I said, if you haven't already done so, please sign up for the Shine Wellness newsletter, which you can receive monthly in your email inbox, and it will again provide you with more information. Thank you very much, and well-being to all. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Susan. That's great. So next up, I'm going to give a little bit of an update around our Winter Star Week. So why a Winter Star Week? Well, it's always a good time to have initiatives aimed at recognizing our teams, our people, and creating meaningful moments for that to occur throughout the organization, including our physician and resident group. The Winter Star Week that we're having this week will begin on September the 10th and go to December the 17th. And this builds on our past efforts in the same vein. We've had 4 campaigns, I believe, Winter Star Week campaigns in the past, and each of them has been very well received by the workforce. Lots of positive feedback from our leaders as well. This week, we'll offer a hybrid approach using both in-person and virtual activities and a whole bunch of different recognition events occurring throughout this time period. So some of the features that I'll touch on for us today include, we will, as we have in the past, on the benefit of a wonderful donor, have the opportunity to provide a $10 e-gift card to our entire workforce. Of course, if you wish, you can also gift that back to our hospital to home program and help those with extreme needs to meet those needs in our community. As well, we'll also have opportunities throughout all of our sites for a free beverage and a free dessert. If you visit one of your Hamilton Health Sciences Volunteer Association cafe locations, there'll be a chance for a free beverage on one day. And then there'll also be a chance for a free individually wrapped dessert square that you can pick up at the same location at the same time. Offsite, we'll also have catered platters and wrapped desserts and other beverages available for our workers that are not at HHSVA cafe location sites. Did I cover everything here? Oh, yes, I think I did. All of this will be available on the hub if I happen to miss a detail as well. We're also going to have some draws, again, with thanks to our community partners. We're able to offer to over 200 lucky winners for you and one guest to join each other for a Hamilton Bulldogs game throughout, I think this is on Sunday, December 11th. So that's inclusive of 1 hour free ice time. So that's a pretty cool draw that'll be taking place. We have tickets for the Toronto Rock, 250 tickets available to win for those games. Folks can attend the Toronto Rock lacrosse game taking place on Saturday, December 17th, again, with a guest of choice. We also have, as is our custom across our organization, our peer-to-peer recognition e-card challenge. Staff will be encouraged to recognize their colleagues or their leaders by sending a Winter Star e-card on the hub. And those that do take advantage of those e-cards will be entered into a draw for one of 270 HHS winter toques, and a small picture there of those toques for your benefit. So just some highlights of our Winter Star Week. Please take a moment to take advantage of the opportunity to recognize one of your peers or colleagues. Even if you're not entering one of the draws, it's still a wonderful time to pay it forward and to let somebody know how they've impacted you and to recognize the work that they do to make our hospital run. I think that might be my last slide. Yeah, so I think that concludes the formal presentation agenda for today's town hall. We have had some questions stack up in the Q&A. I'm not sure if we're up to speed. I know I was answering one right before I came back on screen. So we'll check in there again. Those questions that have been answered, those answers have stacked up in the answer tab, and you can check them as you go. And of course, if your question comes to mind that you didn't ask and you'd like to, you can always email those to the HHS News at hhsc.ca inbox. And we'll make sure that you get an answer from the right person. Okay, so I think that concludes our question. Let's go now to our celebrations, an opportunity for people to raise your hand and give a shout out live to somebody or something or a team that's happened around the organization, something you'd like to celebrate or recognize. You can also type those into the chat forum. So if you'd like to use the chat forum to type something, you can type it in there and I'll read it out. If you'd like to raise your hand, we'll call on you live, as I'm going to right now for Leslie Gillies. Leslie, you have a hand up. What would you like to celebrate today?
Thanks, Aaron. Just wanted to share a shout out to the capital redevelopment team who have been working very closely and collaboratively with the West Lincoln Memorial Hospital staff, physicians, and leadership team, hitting a bit of a major first milestone and new build drawings in the next couple of weeks. But it's been a very inclusive process, and I think really, really exciting, but a wonderful sort of major target that's been met. So thank you to that team.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Leslie. I'm going to go next. I have Betty Enns. Betty, you've got a hand up in our participants forum. If you unmute, you should be able now to do so and give your shout out. Sometimes it doesn't work as crisply as we'd like. I'll come back to you in 1 minute, Betty. Tim, you've also got a hand up. What would you like to celebrate today?
Thanks, Aaron. Yeah, I would like to celebrate and thank all of you who have completed the Patient Safety Culture Survey as part of our accreditation preparations for 2023. Just to note, that survey is still open, closes next week, and we encourage everyone else to complete that survey, please. Thank you.
Awesome. Let's try Betty again. Betty, you'll just have to unmute. No. Okay, Kelly Campbell, you're up. You've got your hand up. What would you like to celebrate today?
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. So just along the lines of Leslie's, a shout out to all the Juravinski clinical teams and support areas that have been helping us as we move into a similar process at JH for the new redevelopment. We started the working groups, and I know on top of everything else that's going on, it's challenging for folks to get to these meetings, but we're off to a good start in getting the functional programming work started. So thanks to everybody who's made that time in their calendars. And then secondly, just a shout out to all the folks at McMaster who have been working to get the 2P unit up and running. I know, again, that's been an extra challenge on top of their workload. So very appreciative of all the efforts there.
Awesome, exciting work. Thanks, Kelly. I have a comment here from Cheryl Booker. Thank you and congratulations to Kelly Wynn, behavior therapist in developmental pediatrics and rehabilitation at Ron Joyce. Kelly is retiring next week at almost 40 years with HHS. Wow, that's incredible. Thanks for pointing that out. From Taylor Klassen, celebrating ambulatory areas at MCH who are reassessing supports we provide to inpatient areas on a daily basis. Extending yourselves to support our very stretched colleagues makes me grateful to be part of this amazing team. Thanks so much, Taylor, for adding that. I also have something here from Michelle Cardozo. Since we're talking about wellness today, it is a good opportunity to give a big thank you to Melissa Cummings, who is a key supporter of our own JCC radiation therapy resiliency effort, attending huddles for weekly mindfulness and stretch breaks, and continues to keep us connected with what is happening with Shine Wellness. So that's awesome. Leslie Coche, you have a hand up. What would you like to celebrate today?
Yeah, thank you. And I just thought Tim kind of stole half of mine in the chat. Many people might not realize, but the Hamilton Regional Lab Medicine Program underwent the Canadian accreditation the beginning of this week. We had a preliminary debrief with the accreditors, and they gave really, really positive feedback to the lab program, really acknowledged some really good work that was happening with our clinical partners, and especially acknowledged how much the lab teams have dealt with through the pandemic and with our EPIC implementation. So a few flags we have to work on, but a lot of really, really positive attention to the lab team. So thank you for everyone who contributed to that work.
Awesome. Thanks, Leslie. And here from Morgan Richardson, celebrating our volunteers who have been instrumental in assembling nearly 10,000 PCR kits for staff and patients. Thanks, Morgan, for highlighting that. And again, from Tim, as Leslie pointed out, similarly recognizing the HRLMP staff with their lab accreditation this week. Lots of prep required for that. Taylor Klassen is back also to celebrate Debbie Turner for her milestone 40 years at HHS as she prepares to retire next week. Debbie is a pillar of the MUMSI site. Thanks for adding that. And from Dave McKeag, amazing HRLMP accomplishment amidst COVID and so close to EPIC. Congratulations. So we can continue if anyone would like to raise their hand. I don't know, Betty, maybe if you wanted to type something in. Sorry, we didn't get to your live shout out. Sometimes it doesn't work as we expected. We'll just give another second to make sure if anyone has something to add. Okay, well, we'll leave it there and back to you, Rob, for final thoughts. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thanks to all the presenters today, and thanks to all of you for coming. We appreciate you attending these town halls very much. As I said, please come back to our next town hall on December 15th, where we'll try to outline some of the things that we're doing, the tangible things that we're doing to try to make life a little easier from a staffing perspective. Thanks again for attending today, and we'll see you all again next time. Cheers, everybody.